What on earth did I just watch? Hello and welcome to Animus Lives number 6. This is an emergency session of the Alien Romulus Tribunal and Court session. I was not expecting this show to be as bad as I thought it ended up. Seriously, I don't know what. Try and be as non-spoilery as possible for the moment, and then we'll go into a few more details once I've gone over the general thing of the film. Animus lines? Oh my god. Can I change that? Can I? No, I can't. Damn it. Oh, I need to be taking line or doing lines to watch this bloody. This is what happens when you rush people. But yes, this is Animus Lives, not Animus Lines, because I'm really good at my job. And yes, I want to discuss why Alien Earth was so disappointing. Well, not disappointing is the wrong word. Shocking would probably be the better one. Probably could change the title after the stream. Yep, almost certainly changing the title after the stream. Hello, Antonio. I'm doing better. Definitely better. This was an unplanned stream. Definitely unplanned. I did have this time earmarked for writing my Superman script, but I've given it over to me having a just venting I'm flipping Alien Earth. Yeah, I'm surprised too of being here at this time. Like I said, I wasn't planning to, but then I just watched the last episode. General overview of the series, in case you are thinking of watching it, despite me now saying that I'm actually wanting to have a bit of a rant about it. In case you're thinking of watching Alien Earth is about a bunch of children who have various undisclosed conditions who get their brains transferred into androids, and they become the first android human sort of crossover type thing, all at the behest of a child genius, as he keeps calling himself, a prodigy. And whilst this is going on, a spaceship crashes that has a bunch of aliens on, including the xenomorph, the one that we've all here to see. And that is essentially that's basically the first episode, thinking of it. But yeah, the series focuses on the androids. Yeah, they're androids. This is the thing. The show starts off by giving you a description of 3 different classifications of robots. I might actually get that up now so I can have a look at it, because when I saw it pop up on the screen, I was like, why is it showing us this? Is this going to be like a significant detail? And the answer was yes. It was so significant. In fact, it was the whole flipping show for the majority of it. I described Alien Earth in a previous stream as oh god, I'm gonna do it again. It's not Total Recall. What was it? God damn it. I did it again. It's not Total Recall. It's Harrison Ford and the Robots. You know what it is. I'm sure Sea Monster or Antonio will tell me in a second. That film, but with an alien in it. And it was really shocking to see that, like, be this when the whole thing is Alien Earth. Oh, cool, Alien Earth. What that can mean? Aliens invading Earth. And it's a cool premise. So much so that Alien versus Predator basically made it its second film, Aliens in Earth. All right, here we go. Right. Like that. This is the first thing after the intro. This is the first thing you see on the TV show, on the Alien Earth series. In the future, the race for immortality will come in 3 guises: cybernetically enhanced humans, cyborgs, artificially intelligent beings, synths, and synthetic beings downloaded with human consciousness, hybrids. So in that case, the show is following a bunch of hybrids because the synthetic human consciousness thing, that's what they are. And they're supposedly the first of their kind. And this opening credits is so misleading. The race for immortality. No, the synths are human robot helpers. That's all they are. They aren't people trying to make immortal humans. They're just helpers. And cyborgs are in this show. There is one cyborg, and that cyborg is a bloke who had a palsied arm. Is that the word of it? Buggered arm, and Wayland Yutani gave him a robot arm that which then made him cybernetic cyborg. So this opening thing is completely wrong. But you don't know that when this comes up, and I'm pretty sure the show is hoping you forget it by the time that you realise that it's wrong. How were the xenomorphs handled? Literally handled. I'm not joking. Oh god, I'll have to wait for. I'm going to give it a minute before I start going into those details. But it wasn't. There was one. I suppose technically there were three in the show. Again, going into spoilers for more details on that one. But yeah, they weren't handled well. Oh god, what the hell? I'm going to look up the film name because I keep forgetting it. Harrison Ford robot with Blade Runner. There you go. This show should have been called Blade Runner with an Alien. Have you watched Predator Killers? No, I haven't. I've just seen the adverts for it, I think, so I might give that a watch. Hopefully it's better than this. I've been watching Shogun as well. I've been quite surprised how good that is and how similar. I say it's weird how it reminds me of Monarch Lom. Not only because there's a couple of actors in it that are carried over, but that the intro music for it as well is very similar. And it's been a breath of fresh air, a palate cleanser between episodes of Alien Earth. um, but yeah, to say the show is massively disappointing is an understatement. It's been gradually disappointing. It's been one of those shows where you're like, I'm going to wait for the end to see exactly how this ends before I make a judgment call on it. It's kind of like what was it? Fallout Prime. That show had that as well. It was like the show was enjoyable, but all the way through, you're like, oh, can't wait to see how this goes. Oh, can't wait to see how this goes. And then you get to the last episode, and the last episode just absolutely hamstrings the entire show because the details in the last episode then explode backwards into the show. You're like, oh, I like this show until then. Now it's got problems. With Alien Earth, it's all like, okay, I'm not liking this show as much as I should, but maybe the last episode will sort it out. The last episode does not sort it out. The last episode slam dunks it headfirst into the floor. My sister recommended me Shogun. I would too. It's quite fun seeing. Obviously, there's the fish out of water context of the British bloke in Japan than trying to deal with being in Japan. But it's also just all the political intrigue as well. And how certain things. Oh, that gets good. I haven't watched the last episode yet. I've got the last episode to go. But yeah, really liking Shogun. Anyway, back to Alien Earth. Yeah, the show basically follows around the hybrids. And even now, I'm struggling to tell you like anything because it's this really weird thing of The hybrids are kept on an island away from everything, so theoretically they don't really have that much to interact with, hence why their stories are so difficult to right now recall. The majority of what they do is related to the aliens, plural, yes, aliens. The xenomorph is not the only one, which is a bit of a twist in the tale, as it were, for this. Just go watch Andor. It's a great show. I can only imagine that Alien Earth doesn't even come close. It doesn't come anywhere close to the first series of Andor. I've watched that. I haven't watched the second series yet. But yeah, I struggle to actually recommend this show now, especially for certain aspects of it. um, I'm gonna go into spoilers now because honestly, I keep going to say something and I'm like, oh, maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't say that because that's details that might ruin things. Oh, actually, one thing I'll say before going into spoilers: Adrian Edmondson, Ade Edmondson, uh, famous from Bottom and The Young Ones. If you don't know who he is, shame on you. Definitely go and watch The Young Ones and Bottom and any of his other work. He was a hilarious, like slapstick comedian, should I say? Um, who then traversed the barrier between comedy and serious acting. And he's been in a few things now. For the longest time, considering there are synths, uh, murderous cyborgs, a xenomorph, a bunch of other aliens that are trying to kill people, a crazy nutter, yeah, yep, a crazy nutter, trillionaire, all these other different weird and crazy creatures and deadly creatures. Possibly the creepiest thing about the show was Ade Edmondson. It's just some of the stuff he did. And honestly, the one thing the show did well was his character. Right up until the last, like, few minutes of him on the screen. Then they sort of messed up a little bit. But otherwise, to give you an idea of the quality of the show, Ade Edmondson was the creepiest thing about it. That's more down to just how good of an actor he is and how like well he portrays his character. But yeah, it's this show. We watched IT 2017. Oh, it's 2017. Yeah, I think I watched. Yeah, if that's the first big It film. Well, I can't remember the actor's name, but yeah, him. Yeah, I watched that one. I liked it. The second one was a bit, but I liked the first one. So let's go into some details now, just to give you an idea of just like why why you probably shouldn't watch it. The xenomorph becomes a pet. I'm not joking. It becomes a pet, a lap dog. The main character, who is one of the children who had their brain transferred into the hybrid robots, she learns to speak xenomorph and then starts controlling the second xenomorph in the show. She kills the first one for starters. She has a fist fight with a xenomorph and kills it with a sword. You're like, oh, that's an auspicious start to this series. Alien Earth. The alien gets killed basically in its first episode. Um, the xenomorph is very much is very much plot aware. It must be said. The amount of times the xenomorph is in a room full of people and it insta kills a bunch of people, and then when it gets to a plot significant character, it goes into slow mo. Literally, at one point, there's the cyborg character is standing next to a bunch of soldiers, and the alien jumps up and kills the soldiers like instantly, like bam, 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 and then it just leans over the bloke's shoulder, and you see his tail come. I think its tail came up, but it's leaning in close. It's sensing him. It's smelling him, and the guy is standing there. He's sweating. Oh God, what we're gonna do? How am I gonna get out of this? Yeah. Why are you taking so long with this guy? Why specifically this guy when there's the other guys? What? Why? And it does it a lot. It'll kill whole groups of people, but then a significant plot character. No, let's take our time. So some of the memes I've seen online about a xenomorph being like a dog were true. Then yes. So and again, it's stuff that doesn't really make a lot of sense because when this spaceship crashes, the boy genius sends in the hybrids for some reason. I don't know why. He sends in the hybrids to an alien spaceship, even though he's sending in soldiers with guns and whatnot. He sends in the hybrids, and the lead hybrid, Wendy, because they're named after the Neverland children, she literally she's outside of the spaceship and she starts hearing the alien talking. But it isn't the alien, or maybe it is. It's not really clear because she kills the alien and she can still hear stuff. So it's possibly the eggs talk. Yeah, but then she's the only one who can hear them. Keeping in mind that they're all models of robot with all theoretically the same possibilities, the same mechanics and whatnot. But she's the only one who can hear their subsonic signals that they're sending out. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And then from that, the boy, one of the engineers tells her to, oh, just mimic the sounds you're making. You're a robot. You don't have vocal cords. You have speakers. So just echo what you're hearing, and then she does, and it all comes out as. And then when oh god, and then when they make a new alien by implanting an egg into a body part, which they steal from somebody else. That's a whole stupid thing. But when the alien births, she starts making those noises at it, and then the alien starts liking her, and she can pet it and stuff like that. And then when it grows up, she can obviously then control it because, of course, she can. And that's where it becomes really weird because then there's this whole moral. There was a really interesting potential for moral like complications with that because there are soldiers on the island who are employed by the boy genius, and they're obviously told you've got to stop them from leaving the island because technically the hybrids are robots owned by him, so they are technically his property. So when they try to leave, they're like, "Oh no, stop it!" And then she sicks the alien on them and just kills a bunch of people, including a bunch of people that were friends with her brother, who is still human. It's like, oh, that's interesting. That could have some complicated moral implications. Good. Xenomorphs should never be the good guys. Their designs are living embodiment of a nightmare fuel. Yes, and part of that nightmare fuel is that you don't really see them that much. Like even in the original Alien, when you do get him in the room, it's like flashing lights. Like there's the lighting ain't great, so it's kind of dark. You can see the highlights of the very like slick skin or their shiny exoskeletons and stuff like that. And the rest of the time, it's just brief glimpses, like a mouth, a claw, something like that. The atmosphere of the show of the film enhances the uh the fear and the design of the alien because you can't see that well. And what you do see is kind of, oh, that looks kind of creepy. That looks kind of scary. In this show, they have the alien literally just walking up to Wendy in the middle of the day, in the middle of a forest, not hidden or anything like that. And it's just like, here's the alien, guys. Thanks, show. um, oh god, it's just like the show doesn't know how to use it, and even when it's trying to be, there are one or two good bits earlier in the show, and this is why it seems to be like a degradation of the show as it goes on. It's really odd. You'd think they would try and keep the quality all the way through, but it gets worse as the show goes on. There are parts earlier, like when the ship crashes and the alien and they start exploring the aliens. There are parts there where the alien is used quite well. Like at one point there, because it's crashed into a city, the ship is then like obviously next to buildings, and they're exploring one of the buildings, and there's a statue, like a really elegant like water feature statue type thing, and you see it in one shot, and you're just like, okay, it's a statue, and then you see it again over someone's shoulder, and you then see part of it moving. You're like, oh, that's the alien. Okay, that's cool. Um, with you, do they have sense of honor when they do their job of hunting people? Oh, is that from the Killer of Killers? Yeah, yeah, I have to go watch that. But yeah, some part. Oh god, even in the first showing of the xenomorph, it gets kind of the cyborg guy hunts it down. Can't actually remember how he hunts it down, but he does. He saves them again. The xenomorph runs into a room full of people, dozens of people, party goers, and it rips and tears and guts and blood everywhere. And then one of the plot significant characters, the brother of Wendy, goes into the room, and the alien's like, I'm going to take my time with this guy. I'm just going to sneak up behind him and be like, grr, look at me. You know, okay, why didn't you rip him to pieces? You ripped everybody else to pieces. Why not him? It's like he's got a cooldown. Like his ulti is just rip and tear, and then the ulti like runs out, and now it's just the xenomorph is like, oh well, I've got to do it slowly now until my stamina recharges, and I can use my ulti again. But in that moment, the cyborg, who again don't know how he manages to track down the alien, but he does, zaps the alien, which is actually a detail you don't find out how he knows to do that until later, which is kind of annoying. We get a flashback episode. We didn't need a flashback episode because it didn't really give us any helpful detail or useful details. I think there's like one thing, but even that one thing doesn't really improve the plot in any way, shape, or form. You could take that out and it wouldn't change anything. But in the flashback episode, we learned that he learns that the aliens have acid blood and therefore he shouldn't shoot them, so he uses like a stun gun. And when he finds the alien about to kill the brother, he stuns it and then covers it in goo. it's it's just like the alien's stunned on the floor, and then he just sprays it with like Spider-Man jizz, wraps it in this sack, and then just starts dragging the alien behind. It's like, what? That's okay, cool, great, I suppose. It's like, on the one hand, it's kind of like, yeah, that if that's a thing you can do, then yeah, that's how it would be done. On the other hand, it kind of ruins the mystique of the alien when you're just dragging it across the floor in a sack. But and then yeah, like seconds later, some soldiers turn up and start pointing guns at him, and then he says something like, um, "Don't be afraid of it; it can sense your fear," or something like that, which isn't explained in the flashback episode. So it does makes you wonder how the hell he knows that or why he assumes that. But yeah, as the show goes on, it's this really weird thing of here are these aliens. Oh my god, these aliens. These are the things that you think we would be like interested in seeing. But for the most part, they are background characters. They are just over there somewhere. They are plot devices most of the time. Literally, in the last episode, one of the aliens breaks out of its casing. Like they're all in little glass cells, and it's assumed that these glass cells hold them because they stay in them for most of the show. And in the last episode, one of them just smashes through. You're like, oh, okay. Why didn't you do that before? And there's no you can't say it's because um a person walks into the room. Like for most of the show, the labs are restricted to androids only. That is because when I think it's the boy genius goes in earlier, the alien eggs start opening up because they sense him near. So the androids are like, no, out. Only androids in here now. But people enter the labs multiple times in the show, and this alien never breaks out. Again, it's just sitting there like, I could break out, but I'm not going to. And then in the last episode, then it breaks out just so that it can do something. Because literally the entire show, it doesn't do anything. I think it creeps somebody out at one point, but otherwise doesn't. That's it. And you get a couple of them like that. There's like these bugs which can dissolve minerals, which makes you wonder why the hell they haven't dissolved their cell. But okay, whatever. And they're literally used for one thing, and then that's it. There's one alien that is used a lot, who should be way more significant than he actually is. This is the weird thing. There's an alien in amongst the aliens who's just an eyeball that rips out the eyeball of another creature and then sticks itself in the eye socket of the creature to then basically take control of them. Interesting idea. Not a lot is done with it. It must be said. Um, there was one point again in the flashback episode where it looked like it was trying to warn a scientist that something was going wrong. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. Is it actually like sympathetic? Does it have empathy? Or is it just that? Is it just trying to warn the scientist about danger so it can keep the scientist alive for when it wants to then like try and take control of her? It's like it's an interesting thing. Again, something that could have been explored. It bloody wasn't. Again, there are a bunch of aliens. They don't just have the xenomorph. The xenomorph on its own could have been quite interesting to work around. At one point, the island that the boy genius basically uses as his home base essentially becomes the xenomorph's playground because the xenomorph gets out because Wendy tells him to get out or lets him loose. Again, very morally like iffy thing for her to do. She opens the cell for the xenomorph and the xenomorph jumps around and starts killing everybody in sight. And then the xenomorph basically has the run of the island, which should essentially turn the show into Predator, but with an alien. Because there's an alien in the jungle and people are trying to find it, and you get soldiers and all sorts of people. But that's a very small part of the episode. The majority of the episode is spent talking about, once again, the hybrids. Oh my god. This is literally the last line of the show is the reason why I felt the need to talk about this. Throughout the show, they've got these hybrids who are trying to deal with being what they are. There's one who's very enthusiastic about his condition, and to the point where he's just trying to learn things, and he ends up dying. You get one who ends up being manipulated by the cyborg because the cyborg's got communications with him and learns who he is and all this sort of thing. another one who's friends with the guy being manipulated. So there's all these relationship stuff going on, as well as some psychological play. One of the cyborgs goes a bit nuts, and there's hints that they suffered at the hands of their parents before they became a hybrid, and they start deleting their memory. It's like, oh, we need to delete their memory because they had trauma from one of the aliens. Let's delete their memory. So they do. And then oh my god, that caused such a stupid issue. They don't tell. I'm going all over the place, I do realise, but the company deletes the memory of one of the hybrids. One of the hybrids. It's the ginger girl who had an encounter with the eyeball alien, and then afterwards started exhibiting like really weird behavior, like she was saying, "Oh, I'm pregnant," even though she's a hybrid and can't get pregnant, and she's acting threatening to people. So they basically reset her memory to before they go and see the aliens, and that's the company's solution. Oh, we'll just do that. Actually, just realised I haven't got my face on the screen. There I am. Hello. So the company rolls back her memory to before she met the aliens, and you would think, considering the fact she spends all her days with the other hybrids, you would think the company would tell the hybrids that they did that to her, explain it, say, oh, by the way, she's going to forget literally everything that happened in the past couple of days because of this. But they don't. So, and immediately, the other hybrids are like, oh, so how are you after that thing? She's like, what thing? You know, the thing we experienced. What thing we experienced? You know, the thing we did the other day. We didn't do that the other day. Yes, we did. The other day we did this. No, that was like days ago. All this stuff has happened since then. And immediately she starts having mental trauma because she realizes her brain has been fucked with. It's like, Jesus Christ, show. The guy in charge of this is supposed to be a genius. How? How have you cocked this up so hard? Oh, and I was just say that was the only thing. Again, the alien is a lapdog. Literally, the Wendy character can control it by doing go noises at it, and then it runs off. There's a point where she said where it comes over, she makes noises at it, it runs away, and the brother asks her, "What did you tell it?" And she says, "To follow and watch." What? How on earth did you work that out? If these hybrids had like built-in supercomputer brains to work out this sort of stuff, you might be able to get away with that. But they don't. They have human minds and human brains. The prodigy, the boy genius who made them, explained at one point he wants a human mind inside of an immortal body because that way the brain can continue to develop. At which point he will then have somebody um, interesting to talk to in terms of intelligence and experience and whatnot. And it's like that's an interesting concept, just a human brain in an eternal body. What will happen to that human brain? How will it develop? Will it get better and better and better? Or will it start degrading? Who knows? So the show is explicit that these are just child brains in adult robot bodies. So when this child starts like deciphering an alien language, not even like a human like alien language, it's a xenomorph. She deciphers the language, works it out, and is able to give complicated commands to the point Where in the last episode, she's communicating over long distances and telling the xenomorph to hunt down the boy genius, not to kill him, just to find him and like keep him in place. Yeah, how? How did you do that? It's not even like it's a dog and you give the dog like a scent and then the dog finds the thing that smells like the thing you just gave it. No, she's verbal commands and quite complicated commands at that. It's like, what? Ah, it's what I mean. It's like the alien aspect of this show is entirely overshadowed by the hybrids, by the robots, by the. Oh, I'm going to do it again, aren't I? Entirely overcome by the robots, and it's really odd. I can only imagine that somebody somewhere at some point had an idea for a show about these robots. And then somebody went, maybe not that. Maybe try something else. It's like somebody had an idea for a show about these robots, and then they didn't think it would market very well. So why don't we throw aliens in there and set it in the alien universe, and that way we'll make it more marketable, more appealing to wider audiences, and then basically just go, oh, by the way, instead it's actually about this. Oh, you do see you could see the alien. Look, there it is, right there, out in the open, bright sunlight. And that's actually another problem. Because in the Aliens film, they show that aliens, the xenomorphs, can be shot and killed quite easily. Like there has to be quite literal like droves of them to then put the soldiers in danger. So when you have a small army on this island with automatic weapons, and they're hunting in packs, in groups, squads, whatever they're called. At one point, a group of them walks into an alien. Like the alien killed somebody and is like doing something to the body, God knows what. They run round the corner with their guns drawn, and the alien is just sitting in the middle of this corridor. It's not even in an open space where it can maneuver out the way and not get shot. It's just there, right in front of them in a confined space. If they all opened fire together, they would kill it. But no, somehow the xenomorph. Just thought of this. The xenomorph turns into Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad. You know the scene where she's walking down through the down the corridor with two M16s and a whole army of soldiers are walking towards her with guns, and instead of shooting her, they decide to run away so she can shoot them. Or she's dancing around the place, killing lots of people. Again, people with guns, and she's just sort of bouncing off the walls, stabbing them. And you're like, this is too far. This is too ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense. She should be dead. The exact same premise applies to the xenomorph when it's in a small corridor and there's a bunch of people with automatic weapons looking at it. It should not survive. It should be shredded at that point. Again, the strength of the xenomorph is in the stealth attacks, in its ability to hide and pop out and go and scare people, catch people off guard, not in a frontal assault against people with projectile weapons. It is buggered at that point. But no, they can't have it die because they need it for actually that's a good question. I don't know why they need it. It's again, you would think they would have a significant role for the alien, but they don't. It's just sort of around. When it finds the boy genius, the two Wendy and the brother turn up 5 seconds later. So the alien had absolutely no use whatsoever. um. Oh, and the last shot. The last shot is the all the hybrids decide that they're not going to be the stooges, the experiments of the boy prodigy anymore. Instead, they're going to fight back. I think she says they should be afraid of us, and then she starts doing stuff. And the last shot of the series is most of the main characters are confined inside of a cell, and Wendy says, somebody says to her, "What do we do now?" And she says, "We rule." I think is the word she says. And yeah, okay, what? What do you mean we rule? Rule what? The island? It comes out of nowhere. It's like, why would you think this? There's been nothing about you that would suggest this is what you want to do. Nothing. It's almost like a line they add at the end of the series to go, oh, what's going to happen next? It's like, but doesn't make any sense with the character or anything leading up to this point. And then just to add like shit to the cake, the camera pans up and the xenomorph is hanging on the side of the cage like a bloody spider monkey. And then there's another xenomorph, a little one. Oh god, I forgot to say how that came to be. There's a little xenomorph with the other xenomorph, and they're both there like a big dog and its puppy. And it's like, oh my god, this looks awful. It's like a child wrote this part. It's almost like a child wrote this part. It's cringe-worthy. But I forgot to talk about the other alien. So, okay. It does make me wonder whether people know how organizations work. Um, so this engineer who's been working on the hybrids gets fired because he refuses to do the memory wipe bit. And as he's being fired, the brother of Wendy comes in. Oh, I want to know how to get the hybrids off the island. I want to know how to get off the island. And the engineers are, oh, I can't tell you how to do that because look, they have all their trackers showing. Look, here's all the trackers. And I mean, we can turn them off like this, turns them off. But yeah, they've got trackers on them, so they shouldn't be able to get off the island. Except he doesn't turn the trackers back on, so they're all turned off. Because of that, he then finds out that one of the cyborgs is dead. So he goes to find. He goes into the restricted lab, which has been restricted to humans because the aliens inside are deadly. He goes into the lab with the deadly aliens, and the aliens get him because, of course, they do. But this is actually part of a plot for one of the hybrids who's been manipulated by the cyborg. The hybrid gets the bloke out. There was actually a criticism that Mauler made in his Alien Romulus video, and it was talking about how quickly the xenomorph hatches from the woman in the film, because it's a very short space of time between her getting face hugged and then the alien popping out of her. It was like, why is it so short? And essentially, the answer is because if it was any longer, there would be quite a big gap in events, and they would have to skew the timing of the clock ticking, the ticking clock. That's it. Oh, God, I stumbled there. They'd have to skew the timing of the ticking clock that applied to the film. Alien Earth seems to keep that premise of aliens can hatch very quickly because the facehugger is on the bloke for quite a while. Like the two hybrids that end up trying to get rid of him, they're carrying around for quite a while. Then the facehugger falls off, the bloke then wakes up going, "Oh, I don't know what happened. What's going on?" And then it feels like minutes later, the alien breaks out of him. it's like, why? Why? This is supposed to be a significant amount of time, surely. But no, they've. And again, it's one of those weird things of with Alien Romulus, they try to shove into the film as much as possible references and lines and all sorts of things from the Alien franchise, while at the same time skewing quite a few of the details to make them work for the film. It was a bit of a weird one. Um, with Alien Earth, they don't have any of the references, but they still have all the skews. So you don't. This is supposed to be set in the Alien universe, but it doesn't have a lot to do with the Alien universe. What was the whole point of that? Oh, that was to explain the weird alien, the little alien. The the hybrids tried to take the bloke to the cyborg because the cyborg wants to take the alien back to Wayland Yutani, but the bloke, the alien hatches out of the bloke before they get the bloke to the cyborg, and there's this whole thing of, oh, what do they do now? So the hybrids take the corpse to the cyborg. The cyborg goes, "That's a corpse, not an alien." And they say, "Yeah, sorry, we did what you said, but it hatched anyway." And now you've got this really weird thing of, oh, how did the blonde, the cyborg, and then now I've got to try and work out whether he actually said it or not. I might actually make a video on this because this is quite. There's so many little details here and there of this is cocked up here and here and here and here and here. The cyborg tells the hybrids to get an alien to him. I'm pretty sure at one point he says, "Oh, you should have X amount of time to do it." And it's like, but how does he know that? Where did he get that information from? Did Wayne and Utani know that? Did they know about this? In which case, why the hell did they need the alien? It's like he definitely didn't know because there was no. He wasn't there for the. Yeah, he didn't know how long the alien took to hatch when he was on the ship. So he's basically, if he's telling the hybrid how long it's going to take, he's bullshitting massively, which is not great because he's relying on that. So if he's bullshitting, he screws himself over, which actually happens because the alien hatches before the alien bursts forth before it can get to him. In which case, the cyborg's really bloody stupid. Why would you do? Oh god, I'm gonna have to examine this a lot more. It is actually terrible. The more I think about it, the worse it gets. It's one of those shows. They had what was it? In Game of Thrones, they had the two brothers, San Clegane, the Clegane bar, I think they called it. It was the Sandor Clegane and Gregor Clegane. They set those two characters up. They don't like each other. Oh, are they going to meet up and fight? And they eventually do at the end of the show. And people made fun of that because of all the things in Game of Thrones that you wanted to see that you didn't end up seeing because various reasons. They managed to get those two brothers fighting, and it was really contrived and it was really bad at the expense of a lot of other characters. They did something similar with this show. There's the cyborg who's been working against the Boy Genius Company, who's working for the cyborg works for Wayland Yutani, working against the Prodigy. And then you have the simp who works for the Prodigy. And they first meet up on the alien spaceship, and they basically holding guns against each other because, oh, I don't like you, oh, you work for the other people. Then they meet up again and start threatening each other, which is kind of weird. I don't know why the synth would threaten. Oh, I suppose the cyborg threatened him, so he'd threaten back. And it's this very vague sort of rivalry between these two characters who have barely met up throughout the show. And the show makes a point of the cyborg. The cyborg gets captured, and then when he gets released, he says, "I'm going to burn this place down." So you think, oh, this could be interesting. What's he going to do? Well, the first thing he does is find the synth and have a fight with him. That's not burning the place down. That's just you having a petty squabble with a robot. Why? Of course, it backfires on him because, of course, it does. But the show decided that these two characters were like major rivals and they needed to fight each other to the death almost. Which just doesn't happen, actually. They get interrupted. Oh, God. It's like you could have put something else in here, show. Or you could have developed that rivalry more so it was more of a thing. Or you could have just replaced that with something else. Like more alien stuff, potentially. Alien Earth, actually, is a really good example to use when people say that the MonsterVerse, especially the early MonsterVerse films, like the human characters, like the we don't see Earth monsters. Because a lot of the arguments with the MonsterVerse films is that the Godzilla and that are only in the film for X amount of time, and that might be true if you sit there with a stopwatch and do that. But the films are about the monsters. Even when the monsters aren't on screen, people are talking about the monsters. People are doing things because of the monsters. So yeah, the monsters might not be on screen right then and there, but people are talking about them, and the show, the story, everything is focused on them. Alien Earth is the example of what people think the MonsterVerse films are like. I.e., it's called Alien Earth. You're expecting to see the aliens a lot. The aliens are in there, but more often than not, they are obstacles in the way of other stories. They are plot devices for other characters' stories. And the focus isn't really on them, it's more on someone else. In this case, the hybrid children for the and all the characters related to them. The alien is just sort of there, adding some spice to the story or getting in the way of things. That's literally its entire purpose. And it's like this is an example of how to do that badly, to set people's expectations of what to see and then trip them up and just like, no, that's not actually what this show's about. This show's actually about this. Whereas with Godzilla films in general, and specifically the MonsterVerse, you expect to see Godzilla, you do see Godzilla, and the majority of the time people were talking about Godzilla. Like everything to do with the film is to do with Godzilla and about him and all that sort of thing. Quite nice I managed to shoehorn in some MonsterVerse defenses there. Um, but yeah, the reason I've chose this image for this stream is because that face belongs to the Wendy character, and the image of the Earth cracking open like one of the alien eggs, on the xenomorph eggs. It gives the impression of all aliens on Earth, or possibly like taking them over, doing all sort of things. You see, there's other um imagery I've seen of like the North Pole, but as it's an alien like coiled around it, or the face hugger wrapped around the Earth. All these different images to suggest something about the aliens taking over the world or having some massive impact on humanity. And they don't. They really, really don't. There's like one moment, or a couple of moments I probably should be more honest about. There's a couple of moments in one of the episodes where the alien is in a building and it's attacking people in their rooms. You're like, oh, this is the sort of thing like you're worried about. Like if an alien came to Earth, this is the sort of thing that could happen. And oh, it's terrifying. But it's only for one episode, and it's only for a couple of scenes. It's like technically, I suppose you could say the alien on the island running around in the jungle. That's also the sort of thing you might worry about an alien doing if it gets to Earth. But it's very isolated, and it's not what you. Yeah, the concept of aliens on Earth causing havoc is massively wasted, and it is, as my thumbnail shows, completely overshadowed by the hybrid story. To the point, again, to be clear, the memes of the alien being like a dog are absolutely spot on. The alien is used by the hybrids like a dog to literally just like get sick on them, cause trouble over there so we can do this. Just hang off the side of the cage like a spider monkey, like my pet spider monkey, and pet spider monkey's puppy. Oh, it is frustrating, to say the least. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. just to have, just to sum up Alien Earth, a good premise for a different show, anchored with the idea of the subject matter of aliens, which shouldn't have been an anchor. It should have been more of a. It should have been the main subject, and it should have raised this show up above most others. But instead, it drags it down because it wastes the concept. And we instead follow the stories of a bunch of children in robot bodies who suddenly, in the last episode, have a complete flip of what they're like and suddenly become these like tyrants in the making. It's very bizarre. Oh, the Aid Edmondson thing. um, in the last episode, they reveal he's a synth. Now, the boy genius tells a story about the fact that when he was young, he made a synth, and it's like, oh, okay. He said, oh, I used the synth like as my pretend dad because obviously no one's going to listen to a child, so he uses the synth to basically talk for him. He's like, oh, that's interesting. And then they talks about the fact that basically the synth was the head of the company for it. It's like, oh, hang on. So when Eddie returns in the episode, like he pops up again, he's like, is he the synth? And then it's revealed he's the synth. It's like, oh, that makes so much sense. Since we're on this live stream, can you at least tell me what your thoughts on my art style and how would you describe it? Furry. I don't mean that in the people dressing up as animals sense. The the edging of a lot of your images gives off this very sort of mottled fur effect type thing. That's how it makes me feel when I look at it sometimes. Obviously, sometimes it's meant to be spiky, but yeah, there's also this sort of like a very rough hair type look to it, which has its own feel. So it's a style. What was I saw it? I can't remember saying. Oh, Eddie. Eddie is the creepiest character in the show by far. When he's talking to people, he has this very sort of cynical, dry way of talking, and it really makes sense when it's revealed he's the synth. He's like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And there's little clues throughout the show. Like at one point, the boy genius throws a ball at a wall, and it bounces at Eddie, and then without a blink, without turning his head or anything, he just holds his hands up and catches it. And you're like, oh, is that them just showing like how in sync they are? It's like, no, it's yeah, it's just a little hint of him being a synth and how mechanical he is and all that sort of thing. And it's really well done. Until it's really good because again, they reveal it by having like actually properly like this is definitely a thing. They have it by having the Wendy character. Eddie, I can't actually remember the character's name in the show. I'm just gonna call him Eddie. Eddie attacks the brother when the brother's trying to escape. Wendy then goes to attack Eddie, and Eddie throws her across the room. And you're, oh, here we go. It's going to be a bit of a conflict. And then he does the really cool, like, bad guy thing of takes off his jacket, takes off his tie, loosens his cuffs as he's bad mouthing and monologuing. You know, oh, this is going to be so cool. But then Wendy has activated her technomancer powers, so she stops him dead in his tracks. Yeah. Oh, well, that was a massive letdown, wasn't it? Yeah, that basically caps it off. It's like, here's this really cool idea. Here's this like brilliant setup, and then they just like sweep the legs out from under it. You know, oh, great, thanks, show. I was already disappointed. You make me even more disappointed. And then they do the line at the end. It's like, what are we going to do now? We'll rule. You know, oh, that doesn't make any sense with what you showed us before. And it's one of those annoying things where you're getting into the end of the show and you don't realize it, and then the show ends, and you're like, really? That's how you're ending it? So yeah, my opinion ain't enough. Don't. It's just very annoying to see how much wasted potential there was. But yeah, I'm going to end it here. Thank you, everybody who turned up. Potentially, I might do another stream at the weekend. We shall see. I definitely need to get on with my Superman script. Need to get that done before the 17th. That script is going all over the place. There's details I'm thinking of whilst I'm writing it, and like, oh god, yeah, that's the thing. But yes, hopefully that'll come out soon. It should, yeah. Might even be on this with a bit more like focus, or do that. Talk about that video going over my stream. That was a weird video. I have to go. Yeah, I might do that. Anyway, shall see you soon. Last but not least, thank you for watching or listening, I suppose. Thank you for listening.